he's pretty good at like connecting, all these connections, meetings being recorded. Okay. So, dress code, nice black shirt. There's no dress code. So you just,
I mean, sometime I'm just going to show up like in a tank top and cut off shorts or something dumb.
all right. So how you doing, man?
I was going to tell you, did you see how many people have viewed last week's recording?
People seem to be intrigued. Yeah. And I feel again that was superficial because we've been talking for 5 minutes, and
Right.
then just now when you hit recording, I'm like, "How you doing, man?" Like we were just like the previous 5 minutes didn't happen.
We're putting
Well,
on a show.
we're waiting for
We got a guest tonight for
big
this
time guest.
this show.
Great way
I'm
to
super excited about this. This is going to be good.
yeah.
Got a couple things prepared.
Do you?
I do. Yeah. Yeah, no clipboard either.
Are you going to fess up about?
We need to talk about that, right? We need
I didn't even finish. Yeah, you know exactly what I was talking about.
that's gonna come up.
All right. Now, are you hosting this meeting or me? So one of us has to admit to Jim that spoiler alert is Jim Olsen. The Jim Olsen's coming on.
I can't wait. So good.
uh,
Any moment.
the anticipation.
It's killing me.
Me too.
I've got so much to say, and I have to wait till he hears it.
Yeah, that helps.
Oh man! How about that picture of him with Don Miller this weekend?
Oh man, we have to figure that out too. So you
Epic.
deserve a lot of credit, like the way you just found him, Don Miller, that is.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't want to spill that till we get him on because it's such a great story how I got a hold of.
Calling him. See that?
Hey, Don.
What's up, man? Did you?
Hey, buddy. I just got your invite. I'm going to try to click on it now.
All right. With a lot of anticipation, then.
Make it happen, Captain.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Got a lot. Oh, see right there. I'm going to admit you. Ready?
Point well taken. Episode 2.
That's yeah.
Too.
There we go.
Woohoo! All right.
All right.
I'm going to back out of this.
Jimmy O. There
All
he is. What a great moment.
right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And see.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Great.
did a call to Ken Tryon right there, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I needed sound man assistance. Yeah.
Maybe
No, hey,
Hughes
whatever.
Lynn or
So
Ken Tryon.
I think that was a team effort. So Don, thanks for whatever you did. I have no idea.
Oh
But,
yeah, I did
yeah.
so much. I was like, just yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, boy, wow, great to see you and talk to you in person here.
Amazing.
On Zoom.
I
Yeah.
was thinking, Jimmy, the last time I would have seen you in person was probably at Don's wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way.
Don, that's 35 years, Jim.
Stop.
Yeah. Way too long. But hey, we're here now, so that's what counts.
Here,
Yep.
and we have got a lot to talk about. Let me
Yeah,
tell
we
you.
do.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, I would love to just chit chat, but we got some business to take care of here.
Yeah. Well, Jim, let me ask you first. You said,
Yep.
are you at camp, like, or
Yeah.
the simulator right now? So
Yeah,
what's
I'm at
that all
the I'm
about?
at the chalet. Yeah, so there's the trapezoid windows looking out, and yeah, I'm in the kitchen here. So yep, surrounded by
Adirondack living for sure.
Yeah, but it's even deeper than that. Aren't you doing like some stuff at camp, even like barge stuff?
Yeah, that's right. As you would know firsthand, volunteer Memorial Day and Columbus Day every year, putting the docks in and taking them out with a team, along with Rob Hughesland. And yeah, and it's like, hey, Tom, I got to say, Donnie and I had a great time last year doing this in the fall and the rain,
I saw pictures.
just like Barge Crew,
Yeah, I saw pictures. It looked quite amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
and
a little bit jealous, I'll be honest.
yeah, I sincerely hope you can join us one of these years while you can.
If anyone would invite me, I might consider it.
That's on
All
the
right.
record now. This is on
Yep.
the record. Here we go.
Yes, I'm writing your name down, and so
There it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get an invite for Columbus Day from Rob Hughesland. He's kind of organizing things now, and it's great because he's kind of the next generation. And Dave Grundyke Sr. was the guy who was running this for many years. And when he retired and stepped down, I kind of stepped in at least for a year, and then I was just so glad Rob could like take over. His whole family is just wonderfully involved in camp. His sister Joy is, like second in command and on the board. Rob is on the board, which is great. Their father, Roger, he's like now an elder at Adirondack Bible Chapel. And, so he stays involved too. He has an office up in across from Woodlands too in the maintenance building. He does stuff. Yeah, I just heard he's like doing stuff like bookkeeping stuff, and so yeah, like they are like hugely involved, and I'm just happy to volunteer twice a year, and keeps me involved. So it's a wonderful thing.
You're saying you're still a gospel volunteer.
Yes, there you go.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a lot to talk about. We have limited time. I want to make sure we get to certain things, and then we'll see where it goes. But nice. You probably have settings, don't you?
Settings. Yes. Let's see.
Yeah, Tom, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to your podcast with Donnie that was just posted.
I was going to tell you, Don, did you realize that more than 300 people have watched that?
What? Come on.
Yeah, I think I saw 333 when I looked today. Oh, here we go. All right.
Jim could have called in his second reference.
All right. So, Jim, this is a segment we like to call On the Spot.
All right.
Okay. So it's very simple. Very simple instructions here. There will be 10 questions displayed. You can choose 3, and you just have to provide your responses. I've already given you 3 to take the pressure off, but you can throw those out and choose your own. Okay. I want to show you how this works. Okay. So I'm going to actually answer one of the questions for you, just so you understand the ground rules. Okay. I'm going to take number 2. All right. In 50 words or less, describe your life.
Tom.
All right. I'm going to do it to show you how it's done. All right.
You froze.
Now, I guarantee you, people are going to count words. So if you do take this one as one of your choices,
Those counters.
people are going to be brutal. So don't screw it up. All right. Let me try it. All right. I think I got it. You ready?
Go.
Married 34 years to the girl I met at camp. We have 4 grown married children, 3 grandchildren with 2 on the way, living in an active adult community in Virginia, 5 years away from completing a career in IT. My hobbies include backpacking, skiing, fishing, writing club, lathe, Etsy. Boom.
Wow. I was prepared.
All right. I mean, people are going to count. I'm pretty sure that's close to 50. So these are your choices on screen. I think we sent you a couple of these, right? What's your first choice?
Okay, first one was places I've lived since camp.
Okay.
All right. And Clifton Park, New York for 6 months. I shared a house.
Okay.
Ballston Spa, New York. I was in a studio apartment that used to be servants' quarters when this Victoria mansion was owned back during the Gilded Age. It was kind of interesting. Oh. It was just like a size of a staff cabin, so no real change. Then moved up to Stephentown, New York, over in the Mass border. Actually had my own little cabin there. It's like a 2-room. It was getting bigger. And then moved back to Ridgewood so I could attend Chubb Institute computer school for a year. That was in '99. So yeah, that was great. Then got a job and moved right upstate again to East Nassau, New York, outside of Albany, Rensselaer County. And I was there until just 6 years ago. And now I'm in East Greenbush at a townhouse just 10 minutes from Albany.
Nice.
So question 1.
Okay, hold on. So couple. We get to ask questions, by the way.
I got a heavy one. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you go first, Don. I got a couple questions.
Okay, I heard he was in like 3 cabins before he moved back to Ridgewood.
Yeah.
Jim, are you the Unabomber?
Yeah, right.
You're not. I don't think you. I've seen you many
I-
times before that, and you're not that suspicious.
No, I gotta say, I just missed staff cabin life so much. I kind of tried to emulate it and where I lived after that, and I think I did pretty well. I held out until I moved into my townhouse just 6 years ago, and then
Done
it's like,
awesome. And now, if you were like the most rustic place you've ever moved, like if you were going to get really daring, what about like what Boys Park is today?
yeah, right. Probably, well, I think East Nassau was a little bit rough. I was above the post office, and a building that turned out to be, it was officially condemned. Yeah. And so I found that out like just before I moved out. I was like, oh, really? So that's where I've been living. So yeah, I think that qualifies. Because Boys Park was largely condemned.
Yeah. It's because of all those fireworks you set off, man.
Okay,
Oh man.
so
Yep.
you said where you currently live is New Jersey?
No, that was in '99, Tom, when I went back to computer school. I had to live at home because that was closer to the computer school in Parsippany. And that's actually the same school where Jeff Johnson attended 10 years before. And that's how I got the idea. So got to give him credit for that. No, I've been upstate ever since.
Good
So
reference.
wait, where's home right now?
East Greenbush, New York. And it's a nice little townhome in a cul-de-sac, quiet community. It's pretty safe.
That's
And
not where we're calling you from. That's not where you're
no, I'm in Speculator. I actually have off this week, which is a real treat.
And this is
So
how you chose to spend your day off with us.
oh,
Feel
absolutely.
privileged. Feel privileged.
Hey, oh
So-
man, privilege is mine.
So
I've been to this place in Speculator. That's a nice pad right there, Jimmy. You got that's
Thanks.
second home?
some sweet
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, I share it with my sister Lynn, who Tom remembers from staff, and she's 10 years older. And her family and friends. I can like kind of segue into like what is your life like today, right?
Yeah. Okay. I was just confused. So you have you actually have this house as well as.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay. That clears it up. Awesome.
Yeah. So now I'm like looking at 25 years of employment with Scantron, which is a huge blessing. I never expected I'd have such a long tenure with one company, but yeah, the Lord is good. I got hired right out of Chubb Institute, the computer school, and been working in the Albany territory ever since. And
Nice.
so what I do is just support computer system peripherals for businesses, government, schools, and the equipment we service is wide and varied. It's no longer just printers and scanners. We're doing lots of bank cash recyclers and other stuff we haven't worked on before, like Staples stores. When you walk into their print and copy centers, they have finishing equipment. We're supporting all that. So it's a good challenge, but it's manageable. So outside of work, I think about at least 40 weekends a year, I'm probably here in Speculator, keeping things running here at the cabin, because it's not just for my sister's family to come up and enjoy, but part of my dad's vision for the place was to open it up to the Lord's people, as Don, your grandpa, would say, and let them enjoy it and be blessed by it. So in order to have everything ready for them during guest season and other times of the year, there's not just housekeeping to be done, but lots of maintenance, yard work, outside work, repairs, this and that, just everything that goes with home ownership, but then some, because of where we are. And, we have lots of other operations that we need to manage, namely like the boat. Hey, you can't leave that out. So,
No.
yeah, I kind of, I have a nice 87 Nautique from the same year that we were on boat crew together. So I got one of those.
Easy. That's
Is
like
it one that
Rambo.
we
That has like our DNA, Tom. That might have like your nasty blood on it.
did we? Is it one we drove?
No, it is not the actual camp boat.
Oh,
However, it's basically identical. I got it from Reading Boat Works in PA. They're a correct craft dealer. And I bought it from them in '94 from the original owner. It was in great shape, and I've had it ever since. Good testament to a correct craft.
uh,
Tom. But
that's so amazing if it were the actual boat, but still,
but
that's such a
Close
great.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But Tom, even closer, the actual boat that I drove brand new is still on the lake. It's the '85 camp boat, one of two Nautiques. And that's now the Spears boat. Tom Spear, he's still alive. He's 88. He's got the first camp right past the end of camp's property on Second Beach,
Okay.
and it's moored out there right now. And yeah, I've had the privilege of maintaining that boat for him just every year for like the last 10 years. So yeah, if you were to come up, yeah, we could probably hop in that boat and take it for a spin.
See how
You know?
see how bad skiing has gotten for me.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
riding a horse. So Jim, your bank apps there, are they Warner Strube and Bob Peck like approved?
Yeah, those guys. I don't know if they've even. Well, I don't know if Bob has ever even seen a cash recycler. Maybe he has. I'm pretty sure they don't have one at camp. But yeah, these things are made in Italy, and they're well engineered, and they're decent to work on. And yeah, I think it's a great gig, and they're well supported. So yeah, I think those guys would be impressed by what these things can do.
Well, you got a sweet gig if you're, doing all this and you're sitting in speculator on a Tuesday night talking to us. So
And 40 weekends
Mm.
out.
Yeah.
40 weekends. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, as I tell everybody, it's with this kind of privilege comes a lot of responsibility,
mm,
and I don't take it for granted because I did not grow up with this, as a kid, and it wasn't until after college, that when we decided to buy the property. My dad had the vision because my sister married a pastor, and he realized, well, there's no way on a pastor's salary you're going to afford to, bring your family, four girls, up to camp every summer, especially now. So glad Dad decided to get the property. We cleared it in 2001. We built the next year, and yeah, we've been in for about 22 years now. So Tom, just for the record, I'm going to put it out there, like I mentioned on text. Maybe you and Lori can come up and spend a little vacation on us.
I have a good friend that lives in Pennsylvania, and he's been taking his family up to Speculator, not to camp, but just to get a house on the lake there. So yeah, I would love. We've talked about doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
we need a reunion. That's
Yeah,
really what
yeah.
I think.
Oh, exactly. And
so it
Earl,
begins right here.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's right. If not just for the boat crew, but Earl Johnson's been keeping us in touch on Zoom meetings as well, and so he's come up since with his now wife Lisa, and so they stayed here for a long weekend, and yeah, I hope we can get more guys up here,
Jim,
and do something like that.
let's move to your third question. We got a lot to do still.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
great.
that was two. All right, so the third one I want to do is the person I want to reconnect to
Yeah.
from camp. So I might cheat a little bit here just because I have to tell you the story. I've always wanted to catch up with Jerry Bird again. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
as you may know, yeah, he passed away, and Lord took him home, and we were just, oh wow, you know. So I got to say, even though a lot of people didn't get a chance to catch up with him, I did. And it's 2 years ago. Lynn and Chucky Wong invited Jerry and Phyllis to come and stay at their place right on Lake Pleasant. And I was around, and I think I may have been off that week, or maybe it was a weekend. But Beth Markell and I were invited over, and we had a wonderful evening of fellowship and catching up. And it was just a couple hours, but it was that kind of made my dream come true right there. Seeing Jerry again, and he was looking great, and like he hadn't lost a beat, and he was like still fixing stuff at home and involved in his church, and it's just so good, to see him again. So I was blessed by that. So it was kind of like, yeah.
Good stuff there.
We'll stop there. I want to move on, Don, to a segment I'd like to call Story Time with Tom.
All right.
So, Jim, and just to set this up a little bit, Don told me that, like 2 years ago, he wrote the Buffalo book, which is right there. And, then which I read, it was great. And then he told me he was thinking about writing one for camp, and it started me on a path to write down my thoughts. We talked a little bit about it on the last podcast, but one of the things I wrote about were the barge captains, of course, right? So I wrote about individuals, and I want to read, Don didn't put this in his book, but I'm going to read the segment that I wrote on you, and it shows my affection for you, and I think you're just one of my favorite camp characters in my camp chapters of life. Let me read this. This is a section called The Barge Captains. We called ourselves the Barge Captains. If Mike was our mind, then Jimmy was our heart, and John was our soul. Me, I was just a rookie, a barge captain in training. This is about my first year at camp. Each veteran barge captain had been there for at least one season before me, so I had much to learn. So who were these guys? Now, I'm not going to read Mike or John Belland, but I'll just read the section on Jimmy. There is no doubt that Jimmy Olsen loved everything about being a barge captain. Of all the barge captains over all the years, Jimmy may be the only one who never took a moment for granted, since he seemed to know he was living out the memories that we would all wish to recreate later. More on the contemplative side, I'm sure he was processing the sights and sounds for later retrieval. Camp was probably more of a destination for Jimmy, a home, rather than just a waypoint like it was for most of us. There was also a wacky professorial side to Jimmy. And then this is a quote, Marty McFly and Dr. Emmett Brown. Marty, hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Dr. Emmett Brown, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. And I see you as Christopher Lloyd in that quote, by the way. He would make obscure but profound statements out of the blue, such as, have you guys ever noticed that chipmunks have two speeds, stop and fast? There are also plenty of 8mm film scenes where Jimmy just hops through the frame for no reason on an invisible pogo stick, contributing to the hijinks in his own unique way. He was more cautious than the rest of us, which probably made him a better boat operator, but would also cause him to exit a tube on a whip voluntarily versus by the physics of motion and force that usually dumped the rest of us into the drink. Jimmy was the barge captain with heart.
Oh, wow. I mean, Tom, that was amazing. And man, I'm so honored that you would even take the time to write something like that.
Oh,
and
it's the best, Jim. You're the best.
Oh my gosh. And it was like, this is your life, Yeah. Oh, that was very touching, heartwarming, and yeah, I remember that quote. I think you enjoyed about the chipmunks. Freeze and run.
Freeze and run. I gotta fix it. Freeze and run. Thank you.
Yep.
Don, I think you have something to share then, right?
I do. And listen, so I cannot, Tom, you will not believe how well you teed up what I'm about to put up. And,
I
which
know.
invites more
I know exactly what I did.
You know part of it, but you can't even believe how well you did that. So if we dump out and we're back.
All right, Jim.
All right.
So We just read the description for your barge captain stat.
Epitaph.
Epitaph? Did you say epitaph? So good.
No, that was so well worded, Tom. I'd be honored to have that in writing. So if you would be gracious to forward that to me, that would just warm my heart.
Yeah, we'll get that to you.
Will that fit in a tombstone?
Yeah,
Thing?
it will.
But we do need to unpack some of all that was in there, right, Don?
Yeah, I would say, okay, way back in the conversation earlier, we were talking about furniture. Jim, you haven't found like a 20-inch bass in any of your dresser drawers.
Oh wow, that was one of the best practical jokes on me, and I don't know if at the time I was such a good sport about it. I was a little miffed, like, oh boy, someone really got the best of me. But looking back, it was well played.
Well, so let's just explain what that was, right? So this must have been the second year, Don, so probably 88.
Yes,
And I think were you staying at the point,
I
Jim,
was.
that
That's
year?
right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're staying at the point, and it must have been preseason. I think either Don or I caught a bass, and we're like, let's put this in Jimmy's in the point cabin, thinking you'd find it like the day of or the next day. That's not what happened, is it?
No, it was many days.
Many days. And I mean, I'll give you my perspective, but we need to hear yours because I've never heard this part of the story, right? My perspective was we caught this bass. It was a good sized bass.
Yeah.
And we put it in the bottom drawer of your dresser thinking you're going to find that the next
Like
day.
after lunch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it'll be, haha, guys, bass in the drawer, right? A week later, I hear that they had to throw out a dresser because there was a rotting bass and the whole point cabin smelled. And I'm like, how does this happen? How did we not find it until it got to this point?
Mm. Yes.
And of course, we never owned up to it because I think we understood you were pretty upset at that time. But it was just,
I figured he assumed it was us, and we
yeah.
just
In fact,
let it
yeah,
go.
I was surprised that you didn't automatically think it was us.
Yeah. That's probably the funniest part. And Don, as you chronicled in the book so well, I hadn't actually moved into the cabin yet. It was still preseason, and if you remember, we were all staying up in Woodlands too for preseason, and so that's where I still was. So I hadn't moved down to the point yet, and when I did, when I was getting ready to move in, yes, I don't know how many days after it was a while. It could have been a week. But yeah, when I open that door, I think, oh man, I just got hit because the other what is it, like a Dutch door? Like the top opens, the bottom stays shut. That
That
was
was awesome.
completely
Yeah.
shut. It was all shut up. There was no air getting into this cabin. And yeah, when I walked in, I got hit with this rotting fish smell. so,
Oh.
so yeah, I had to locate, what's the source of this, and it didn't take long. Just open like maybe the top or second drawer, and oh man, I'm glad I had a strong stomach at the time because oh man, I mean, if you ever seen maggots feasting on rotting flesh, that was my first clue.
Yeah, this is going to be a nasty Yelp review right here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was like, I think I immediately shut the door. I was like, I had seen enough. I was like, all right, and so I think I didn't spend any more time in the cabin at that point. I knew what had to be done. And so that whole preseason, we were running the Marine Jeep around with a trailer, toting garbage pails full of pine needles and leaves, and so I knew what I had to do. I grabbed the Jeep, and I think it was actually after dinner You know, yeah. And I went down and I think I held my breath as I walked into the cabin
Yeah.
and I grabbed the dresser all one piece, didn't take the drawers out, dragged it
The
out
whole
onto
thing.
the trailer, the whole thing, and put it on the trailer, kept the door or the drawer shut, drove up to the I guess there was then the camp's dump or landfill behind the maintenance building, and I remember backing up to it because that's where I was dumping all the leaves and the pine needles from all the garbage cans, you know, the week before, and so I knew that would be a good final resting place for this dresser because there was no way it could be cleaned, and
Well,
so yep, dumped it off. And just over the hill, and crashing down the embankment, and that was it, right?
You found a new one in Woodlands too, somewhere in storage.
Yeah. There was other furniture available, so I was able to replace it properly with one that didn't smell. But yeah, I think we had to air out the
Well,
temp.
that didn't smell. That was the only difference.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
low bar, but yeah. So
yeah.
who did you think did it?
All right, so I think it was maybe that night when I was still hot headed about it. Maybe I think we had a gathering of our preseason, and maybe it was right after the meal or sometime the next day. And I remember a lot of the girls were standing around. I think I remember Jolene and Catherine were there, and I kind of brought up the whole event, and I was trying to see if anyone would own up to it. And when I looked in their direction, they didn't say no. They kind of smirked and laughed a little bit, and I was just assuming at that point, okay, it's them.
So
And
they got blamed.
I blame them, probably for the next couple decades at least until well,
That's a
more than that.
grudge. That's a super grudge right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah, and up until just last year, and when Don revealed that it was not them, it was you, Tom, and Don. And I was like, I couldn't believe it because I had all this time. I thought it
Oh,
was them, and it was funny because Catherine and Jolene did not give you guys up. They didn't spill the beans. They said nothing. They just had a good laugh, and I just assumed it was them. And I left it at that. I figured, okay, I'm not gonna take it any further. These girls got the best of me, but hey, it's all good. And
so,
so
Jim, it's 36 years late, but would you please accept my apology?
I do.
Oh, definitely accepted. And I gotta say, well played.
I had no idea you didn't know it was us. I thought you would assume.
Yeah. I never had anyone give me any other reason, that it was you guys. So it's funny. And since in years since, Catherine's come up to spend weeks with her family at camp, and I've loaned her my kayaks to her and her brother Darren and his family to use for several years. We did this, and so we've gotten along famously ever since. And whether or not I brought this up. I probably didn't, but we just had a good laugh over it.
Yeah, on the
Okay.
record now.
So Don, this is not what I was talking about in what I read about Jimmy
Right.
that you need to share.
It was not what we were talking about. So,
There's
what?
more, Jim. There's more.
Oh my!
All right, lead me down that path, and I'll take it.
So Don may have evidence of